Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and we have just seen over $100 million worth of Bitcoin long positions close. This is all happening while the Bitcoin open interest across all exchanges is at the highest levels it's been at in years. This is very important for all Bitcoin holders to be paying attention to. And if that sounds good to you, just before we jump into it, you might as well leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 12-hour time frame. And of course, this is still that whack of accumulation that we have been talking about. And the Bitcoin price right now is still where it should be according to this whack of accumulation. But with that being said, for any of the new viewers on the channel, don't take these grayed out candlesticks as an exact prediction. Instead, it's more of a guideline of what we could be expecting moving forward if this whack of accumulation continues to play out. And in this video, I'm only giving a quick update on this whack of accumulation. So if you want a more detailed analysis about this whack of accumulation, definitely check out my last couple Bitcoin update videos that I posted over the past few days on this channel. And just before we jump into the Bitcoin long positions, I'll quickly mention this bump and run reversal pattern on the daily time frame for Bitcoin. As you can see, Bitcoin is still holding above this line of previous resistance, now acting as new support, which is good to see. This line is currently coming in at around $45,000 per Bitcoin, so there is a decent amount of support at around that sort of price. Now, at the moment, even though Bitcoin is holding above this level, we haven't really seen a proper bounce from this level, which is really what we need to see in order to confirm this breakout to the upside any further. And more importantly, if we can break above this high just here, coming in at approximately 52,000, that would be extremely bullish. But right now, that's not necessarily the case. But with that being said, looking in the daily RSI, we are still trending to the upside here, looking at these higher lows, which is good to see because that normally happens when the price is potentially bottoming out. We saw the same thing in the RSI at the end of the September correction and also during June and July. And so for as long as the Bitcoin RSI on the daily time frame is trending to the upside, that is still making me more bullish than I am bearish over the next few months, at least while the RSI remains in this uptrend. Obviously, things can change, and I'll be sure to keep you updated over on my Twitter if anything changes. So if you do not follow me over on Twitter, make sure you're doing that in the link down below. And by doing that, you're going to be getting all of these extra updates in the crypto markets throughout the day completely for free. Now taking a look at the Bitcoin long positions on the Bitfinex exchange on the 4-hour time frame, and what we can see here is obviously quite a drop off in the long positions on this exchange. And in fact, if you're measuring out just from the top of this drop off down to the bottom of this drop off, that was around 2,873 Bitcoin, which means in the span of 4 hours, over $130 million worth of Bitcoin long positions were closed. And what does that actually mean for Bitcoin? Well, it means that people that were previously in long positions that were betting on the Bitcoin price going further to the upside closed those positions, which basically means they either got liquidated, which by the way, over the past couple of days, the Bitcoin price hasn't really done that much. So a more plausible theory is just they're no longer betting on the Bitcoin price going to the upside. And when you close a long position, you basically have to apply selling pressure to the Bitcoin price. And so the fact that over $130 million worth of Bitcoin long positions were sold in the span of just a few hours, obviously it was amazing to see the Bitcoin price remain at the same sort of levels. We basically absorbed that massive sell. And also there's a very good chance that the majority of these long positions, if not all of these long positions, were leveraged trades. So basically they were using borrowed money. And so when you see a drop off like this in the long positions, you'll think that that would reduce the open interest by quite a lot, but that has not been the case. Looking at this chart just here, this shows the all exchanges estimated leverage ratio, which basically shows us the total amount of open interest across all exchanges divided by the total amount of Bitcoin sitting across all exchanges. And by the way, for the beginners out there, open interest is basically just borrowed money. And so that is why I just said when we see the massive decrease in long positions, you'll think that that will decrease the open interest across exchanges. But right now, looking in this estimated leverage ratio, which basically displays the open interest divided by the Bitcoin reserves, this is still sitting at the highest level it's been at in years. And by the way, we're looking at the purple line just here because the black line is just the Bitcoin price on the daily time frame. And so what does this actually mean for Bitcoin if the open interest is still really, really high, but the long positions are closing? Well, it means that there's still potentially a lot of leverage trades open, but not necessarily long positions. Instead, we're looking at a lot of short positions currently open on Bitcoin. And we can also back this up by looking at the Bitcoin funding rate. Right now, a lot of funding rates are flipping negative. And basically, the further these funding rates go into negative territory, the more and more short positions are opening up. And for the beginners out there, these funding rates are basically the fee that the short positions or the long positions have to pay to each other. And so when the funding rate is positive, the long positions have to pay the short positions. But when the funding rate is negative, the short positions positions have to pay the long positions. And so when we see the Bitcoin long positions close like this, also when we see the open interest at very high levels, and when we see negative funding rates, they are all perfect ingredients for a short squeeze. This was what I was talking about in my last Ethereum update video, because we're also seeing the same sort of things for Ethereum at the moment. And obviously nothing in these markets is guaranteed, but the last time I was talking about these exact same things happening was in the second half of July 2021, around 2 days before we saw a massive short squeeze. In fact, you can see this with the massive spike in open interest that we saw during the same time period. As you can see, as Bitcoin was reaching a turning point after we saw a lot of bearish price action, we were approaching a market bottom, we saw a massive increase in leverage, and they were in short positions because we were seeing negative funding rates at that stage. And then after we saw those signals, the same signals that we're seeing right now, within the next few weeks, we saw a huge short squeeze, which is basically an explosion in the Bitcoin price to the upside. And once again, if you're on the channel back then, you can even go back and look at the videos. They're still there. We're talking about that happening around 2 days before it happens. And so it's very likely that sometime within the next few weeks, we'll see a massive flush out in this open interest, as we almost always do. And that results in a very volatile move, which can be to the downside or to the upside. But normally after we already have seen a lot of bearish price action, and as the funding rates are negative, showing that the majority are in short positions at the moment, the price of Bitcoin simply heads in the opposite direction of what the majority are betting on. So for example, at the previous 65K all-time high, the majority were betting on the Bitcoin price going further to the upside, entering into long positions at that stage, and then we saw a massive crash. We also saw the same thing at the beginning of the September correction. Once again, another spike in the open interest as the funding rates were continuing to increase, as we saw more and more people enter into long positions, expecting the Bitcoin price going further to the upside. But what we saw during July and what we're seeing right now is the opposite to those two scenarios. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video or got something valuable out of it, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so that you do not miss out on any of these future updates that I post every single day. And before you click off, you might as well check out one of these uploads if you haven't already. I've got a trading tutorial video showing you how I place trades over on Bybit, and I've got a passive income video showing you how I earn passive income every day on my crypto holdings. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.